Avenue, son of a bitch. You've done it again. Winked and smiled about being a good, caring Democrat. But when the chips are really down, it's down with the people. There's still no Medi-Cal for all, and more drilling for all, and more plunder of the state coffers. Where did the money go? Oh, where did the surplus go? It happened so quick, yeah. Just a few natural disasters, and there's no more money for schools. Oh, you think that we're fools for wanting you to help with basic needs. Oh, fools indeed. Fools indeed. And then Oregon helps show the way, and that there's no place for the homeless to stay. Now California wants to join in. Let's make the homeless homeless again. Tear down those tents, pack up your stuff. He's had enough. Now this is campaign slogan tough. Let's make the homeless homeless again. But where will they go? Who really cares? Who really knows? Oh, but this is compassion in action. This is the Democrats caring about you more than you know. Hey, vote blue no matter who. And maybe next year when you're out of a job and a home, and you and all of your possessions on a sidewalk, now you can count on blue. That's the boys in blue to come and say, move it along. Tear down those tents and pack up your stuff. He's had enough. Now this is campaign slogan tough. Let's make the homeless homeless again. We've got a mandate from the state. Hey, hey, to make the homeless homeless again.
All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. All right. So more has been revealed, of course. What? Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it. More has been revealed since last night. I had a very crazy morning, and that's why this show is coming to you a little bit later. And nobody knew that because you guys aren't on Telegram or on Twitter. So please follow me on Twitter so you can get updates about when the show is airing. Right, or news or pertinent information. It's kind of hard to, I guess I could do it on YouTube. It's hard to do on YouTube. I could try, but if you want some kind of updates, just please follow my Twitter, Black Bear News, the number 1, and Telegram is t.me/Black Bear News Chat. Right, the links to both are in the description box. Just go there and you can get updates. Anyways, okay, so when we left the broadcast last night, we didn't know what the outcome was. It was, it was looking Trump, and then obviously it got called for Trump, which I told you was going to happen. Sorry, but I told you it was going to happen. And it was pretty decisive, actually. In the end, it was pretty decisive. And I'm not, I don't know. It's a weird, honestly, it's just another day. I'm really glad that they called it last night and didn't drag it out. A lot of people were scared that they were going to do the we discovered some new, some ballots here and there in the battleground states. And honestly, I think it's just, it's a lot cleaner and better when they just decide. Anyways, the dragging out of the thing and the switching it up and all that kind of stuff is like really is very fishy, right? And interestingly, a lot of people brought up, so I know that people get really, quite upset when their side doesn't win, and that's just what happens. Philly cheated a lot, but it wasn't enough. Yeah. I'm sure there was, shenanigans going on, of course, probably everywhere, but was it in Ohio that they said that they said you couldn't vote for Jill Stein or they would throw your ballot out? Excuse me. Too big to rig, yeah. I don't know. There's lots to talk about, lots to cover. And I don't know. I feel like people are probably there are quite a few people that are probably angry that I'm that I talk so badly about Democrats or talk so badly about liberals. And of course, since this channel started out, primarily as like a climate change channel, most of the people that follow this channel are liberals / Democrats. And so, that tends to ruffle the feathers. I understand that. However, the truth is the truth. The truth is the truth, and that's primarily what this channel is about. Climate change is the truth. Climate change is, planetary destruction is happening. And strangely enough, I probably lose a lot of would-be followers because I talk about climate change, but I'm not going to stop talking about it because it is a thing that is actually going on. I talk about it in the context of other things that are going on. So I'm not going to stop I tell the truth how I see it, and that And the problem is that if you don't, the worst kind of truth is the truth that doesn't fit into a nicely defined box of liberal truth or conservative truth. So if you cross the lines, that's when people get all like, oh my God, you're not fitting my ideological silo. I hate you. What are you going to do? Caleb says ex-liberal here. Yeah. Oh, I am all the way ex-Democrat, ex-liberal, and I really actually kind of loathe liberals now, and that doesn't mean I'm a conservative. That doesn't mean I'm a Republican. That doesn't mean I'm anything like that at all. I'm actually a lefty. I'm still a lefty. I will always be a lefty. I will always believe in populism and socialism and or socialist ideas or you know, I always believe that doing things for the greater good of the people is the way to go. And there's so many ideas about how that looks or how that should look, or should it be anarchism or libertarianism, or should it be anti-statism or volunteerism, or what should it be? How should it look? How should we go about doing that? I don't know. There's all these like factions of like how to live your life, and I'm a fan of things that just help people and ultimately help the planet. and I'm not I'm not I'm not, and I'm also not in the super doomer, oh, whatever. Why are you talking about this? Because, we're all going to die anyways. Climate change is going to, okay, well, whatever. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I know that. Even though I know that, and I'm probably I'm a doomer, not at heart, but I'm a doomer in the sense that I know what's happening and I know what's coming. I know what's coming. So I'm not like, and I don't know how to stop it, and I don't know that we are going to stop it. So what are you going to do? Are you going to, I don't know that talking about the same, 4 talking points every day is going to, really help your life, and really like, why do you want to, you got to know the truth, and yeah, you want to vent about it. And you want to be able to talk about it freely and talk about it, truthfully. Make it plain. You want to make it plain about what's going on, on the planet and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's what we're here to do. We're here to make it plain. But there are, that doesn't mean that you can't, I don't know. I see climate change channel podcast hosts talk about all kinds of stuff, and I don't see people going, hey, shut up, don't talk about that. Don't talk about politics or economics or things that are other things that are going on in the world. We just want to talk about climate change. Anyways, or those kinds of conversations are kind of long gone on this channel, but I'm just saying those are the things I've heard over the years, and it's like, dude, don't stop policing my speech. for one thing. Buy Me a Coffee does email notifications. Nice. They do. They do. I didn't, however, I don't see any email notifications. Who knows? I haven't seen any. It would be cleaner and better if we didn't have the option to vote. Okay. Did you send me a coffee, Bella? I don't know. I'm not getting any. I don't know why I'm not getting notifications. I haven't gotten any coffees or notifications of coffees in quite a while. Is it going to like a spam filter? I don't know why it would. I don't know. Anyways, I didn't. And I would have to log in to buy me a coffee to even see if anything's going on. I don't know. My bubble has gotten to my head. What bubble? I'm not in a bubble. I'm outside of the bubble. That's the problem. The bubble is that. No, well, I certainly don't believe that. What I was trying to say is that, I just want to be free to talk about all things, and I try to actually just talk about reality, what's going on. And the problem is, unfortunately, dear liberals and Democrats, you guys you guys are hallucinating. Like, you're literally living like in an alternate universe. Or at least, again, I'm criticizing from the left. I'm criticizing from the left. And Chris, I'm going to read this from Chris Hedges because I kind of made a post. This is something of the same thing. Here we go. Where is it? Something of the same thing, but I think maybe he sums it up better. I think Chris Hedges does a better job. I don't know why. Am I not getting emails from Buy Me a Coffee? What's going on? I don't know. What's going on? Something. I don't know what my password is, yo. I'll log in a second. Don't mention the wars, right? All right, let's read this from Chris Hedges, because I think this is wisdom, and this is truth. And the thing is if you can't, right? Knowledge is power. Information is power. But in order to have the knowledge and information, in order to make, it's not just about judgments, it's about assessments, assessing the situation, right? How are you, discernment, how are you assessing the situation? How can you assess the information you're getting, right? And it's the if you are not in touch with reality, then you will make the wrong assessments all the time. And so therefore, the information doesn't really matter because your assessment is off, because you're not living in reality, right? You're turning it into the wrong assessment. You're living in a fantasy land, in a hallucination. And I'm trying to put this in the nicest way that I can put it, and not be too harsh. But it's important to know what's going on. Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, along with the establishment wing of the Republican Party, which allied itself with Harris, live in their own non-reality based belief system. Harris, who was anointed by party elites and never received a single primary vote, proudly trumpeted her endorsement by Dick Cheney, a politician who left office with a 13% approval rating. The smug, self-righteous moral crusade against Trump stokes the national reality television show that has replaced journalism and politics. It reduces a social, economic, and political crisis to the personality of Trump. It refuses to confront and name the corporate forces responsible for our failed democracy. It allows Democratic politicians to blithely ignore their base. 77% of Democrats and 62% of independents support an arms embargo against Israel. The open collusion with corporate oppression and refusal to heed the desires and needs of the electorate neuters the press and Trump critics. These corporate puppets stand for nothing other than their own advancement. The lies they tell to working men and women, especially with programs such as the NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, do far more damage than any of their lies uttered by Trump. Bam. Bam. Truth. That is truth. So, yeah, there's all the thing is though, is that there's like it's a degree of being in touch with reality, and Democrats are way farther away from reality than the Republicans are. Yes, Republicans, do believe some bullshit. Absolutely believe some bullshit. They are also in a cult. They're in the Trump cult, of course. Yes. But the Democratic cult is far more dangerous because you're way more bought into the story as truth than the Republicans ever are, right? The Republicans are way more skeptical about, they're not so high on their own supply that they believe that they're the righteous ones, and the other side, yes, there's a lot of like, oh, they're all communists, bullshit, right? Oh yeah, they're gonna, there is a bunch of bullshit from the right, but they're not so high on their own supply that they're not actually in touch with the reality of like what people are concerned about. I'm getting to the meat of the problem. The notion of lying about a Hitler-style global threat like the Dems have done. Yeah. The meat of the problem is that the Democrats, are failing on every level, not adhering to any democratic process whatsoever, doing their own electorate dirty, talking to them like they're children, right? Not listening to their concerns and their needs and their wishes and their wants. And then focusing all of that onto, instead of focusing on that, they focus all their ire on Trump, and then they make, like I said last night, they make up these just insane freaking stories about him, right? That are not actually tied to reality. And so there's just the bubble, Bella, that Democrats live in is absolutely not tied to reality at all, in no way, shape, or form, not tied to reality. And the reality is that at least the Republicans have the wherewithal to go, hey, people of the planet, or people of the United States, I hear you. Listen, nobody cares about climate change. Okay, let's get that straight. Nobody gives a fuck about climate change. The electorate doesn't care. Okay, I don't. It doesn't matter. That's not an issue. So like we live in a bubble. The people that are concerned about climate change, we live in a little small bubble where we're concerned about the planet, but everybody else is concerned with like taking their kids to school and making enough money to be able to pay the bills and put enough food on the table. Like that's the majority of people. And the majority of people, like, even if they care about climate change, it's way over here in their daily concerns, right? So climate change doesn't fucking matter. It's not an issue. It's only an issue for a very small, tiny group of people. So first, just realize that. Just realize that nobody gives a fuck about climate change. What people give a fuck about is the economy. What people give a fuck about is watching an administration send billions of dollars, to Ukraine and to Israel and starting two wars while the economy is falling apart, and then lying to everybody about the economy, and then trying to force people to think, no, the economy's the best ever. That is a fucking hallucination. They're trying to push a hallucination on people. And all the Republicans had to do, and it doesn't matter whether they mean it or not, okay? It doesn't matter whether anybody means it or not. That's politics. Politics is who can, promise the most within a certain degree of believability, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Who can promise the most within a certain degree of believability? So when you have a party that's saying, we hear you economically, everybody's hurting, and we want to help you out, and we want to stop sending all these billion, again, it doesn't matter if he means it. They say it. We want to stop sending these billions of dollars to Ukraine, and we want this Gaza thing to end, and we want to talk peace. And what else? Oh, and we want to clean up the food supply, and we want oversight on vaccine. These are things that people actually support. This is what people support. It's not nationalism, it's not white supremacy, it's not racism, it's not misogyny. It's what people are just like, hey, talk to me about things that are real. Talk to me about things that actually fucking matter to me. Right? I don't want, right? 2 years ago, people were losing their jobs. 3 years ago, people were losing their jobs because they were getting mandated to get a vaccine that they didn't want. And, they had to back that the fuck up. So listen, they're talking to people about things that matter to them. Seriously, that's what's happening. And whether or not they mean it, whether or not they're going to follow through with it, doesn't matter. The problem is that the other side, the Democrats, didn't even acknowledge any of. They are like, no, vaccines are great. What are you talking about? Oh no, Putin is a madman. We must continue this war. Oh no, Israel must have the right to defend itself. How about some more weapons? The people that are against what's happening to Gaza are pro-Hamas, Hamas funded, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So I know it talking about doesn't do anything, Bella, but I'm just saying the Democrats didn't even talk about it. They didn't even talk about it. If that's what you mean. They literally gaslit everybody into their reality, and same with the entire media apparatus went along with them. We're gonna gaslight you into this other reality, which is Ukraine is a just war, Israel is Gaza is a just war, Hamas really is bad, and we don't we're not really funding, genociding women and children. No, the economy is great, honestly, actually. And if you don't vote for us, you're a misogynist, you're a racist. That is just insane. And I don't care. I don't really care what the fuck your fucking position is. If you support that, you're fucking insane. And so you have to wake up from that insanity first before you can fucking take hold of reality, so that you can go, oh yeah, I see. But it's not all your fault if you're one of these people. If you're one of these people that's just like, Trump is Hitler and he's going to destroy the whole world, and that's what you have been gaslit into this reality. That's another reality you've been gaslit into. He's not listen, man, if you listen to him, yes, he says on some things he's just like, oh, what did he say? That's crazy. But on other things he's like, I hear you. And how about we're going to clean up, food? And right, I've got RFK over, I've got Democrats talking about left-wing socialist democratic populist stuff on my team, right? Do you understand? Democrats talking about things that people want, populist stuff. People, hey, we're gonna overhaul the FDA and uncorrupt the FDA and the CDC. No shit. Hey, people want that. People want that. Is it going to happen? I don't know, but at least they're saying things that register with people. They're saying things that register with people. I'm not duped, Bella. I'm not fucking duped, dude. They're saying they are saying things that people go, yeah, I like it. I'm saying they're saying things that people react to. I'm not fucking duped. I get it. But the fucking thing is that the Democrats don't say anything. That's why they lost. Okay? So I'm just trying to explain it to people that don't want to hear it. No. Don't talk to me. The Democrats don't say anything that anybody wants to hear, and they're lying, straight up lying and gaslighting the people, and that's why people are pissed, and that's why Kamala lost. Duh. And I don't really like. I'm just saying, man. Like people, I might lose all my followers just because I can recognize truth. And anybody who wants to like be into like recognizing reality, you all can keep watching the show if you want to. And if you don't recognize reality, or if you want to keep going on with the hallucination of like it's whatever, that like the Democrats are good and everything's fine, and you should have voted for the Democrats to fix climate change. Like, if you want to go on with that, be my guest. Exactly. Going south, they stopped caring about people. They don't give a fuck about people, and they're not hearing people. When people are like, hey, we didn't vote for that guy, and they're like, hey, how about this guy? And they're like, we didn't vote for that, and they're like, how about this guy? Hey, we didn't vote for Kamala. How about Kamala? Hey, how about Kamala? Hey, we didn't vote for Kamala. We didn't like Kamala. How about Kamala? Do you understand? Do you get it? When you force somebody down somebody's throat, yeah, it does have, a bubble has consequences. Absolutely. Boiled rope lamppost. Living in a bubble has fucking consequences. Absolutely. The consequences are losing a presidential race. First of all, that's the first one of the consequences is losing the presidential race. The other consequence is, you get it's called blowback. It's called blowback, right? Like when you push something forward that people are like, no, right? Like when you go to war, if you go to war in a particular area, it doesn't really matter whether it's if it's a just reason, right? Oh, we're here to protect this certain group of people, or we're gonna, we're on your side, right? And if it's just reason, then that can have, I guess, positive consequences. But if you go to war for an unjust reason, you have something called blowback. You piss everybody off, right? You make enemies everywhere, in your home and abroad, right? And this is also what's happening right now, is that we've got wars happening on two fronts. They're extremely, for all the wrong reasons. And there's a thing called blowback. You make enemies at home and you make enemies abroad. And I saw this one guy saying, oh, it was Zuby. Do you guys know who Zuby is? Zuby is like, listen, everybody likes Trump because they hate, what's going on with the wars and what, the Democratic, like, he's like, everyone all over the world, outside of possibly some pockets of Europe, is like, go Trump. I don't, whatever. I'm just saying that's just an anecdote for for how people are feeling, right? It's called blowback. You create enemies, and that is what has happened, in this election, was that when you gaslight your own people, your own constituents, when you gaslight the American people, you create enemies. You create people that are like, you create a whole group of people that are like, no, not you. No. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's Trump. It does not matter at that point. And by the way, Trump is saying things that are appealing to people. I don't, yes, I know they're campaign promises. Yes. But at least that's why he won, because he's saying things that are appealing to people that are, right? It's hope and change all over again. It's hope and change all over again. But that's, hope and change beats take it or shut the fuck up, right? Which is basically what the Democratic Party is saying. Take this and shut up. And if you don't like it, you're a bad person. Like, come on, man. Come on. You can't operate that way. And yes, by the way, I forgot to tell you guys. All right. I'm just going to go through a few things I wanted to show you today about the election. And yeah, it is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. Unfortunately, the Democrats pissed everybody off so much that it was a red, it's everything. It was a red wave. It was like it's GOP everywhere. So that's fucked up. If you're really like on the left, if you really are on the left, that's fucked up. That's what you get. You get blowback for not demanding better of the Democrats. But I guess we can't demand better of the Democrats. This election is something of an indictment on the political information complex. The story that was portrayed was not true. The story that was portrayed was not true. That's called gaslighting, right? You portray the story that is not true and everybody believes it. And you've got a whole bunch. I'm telling you, and I've said this 1,000 times, Dunning-Kruger is way stronger with Democrats. It's way stronger because they believe themselves superior. Oh, we're the smart ones. We call Dunning-Kruger on all the Republicans. But we're the fucking stupid asses who believe anything you tell us, anything CNN says, we're like, yeah, it must be that. Okay. Democrats are the dumbest fuckers ever. They're the dumbest fucking people ever because they believe shit that's not true out of their sense of superiority. That's classic Dunning-Kruger. That's, although Dunning-Kruger is like people that are like too stupid to understand they're stupid, but Democrats, what? They're so smart, they don't understand they're stupid, right? They're so smart. They're so fucking smart that they don't understand they're fucking idiots. That's they're a lost tribe. Scott Jennings does a flawless job taking down an entire panel of woke CNN.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
Damn. Well said. And that I just, I don't want to see, like, I'm so pissed at seeing, whatever is going to happen. But like, I'm just filled with rage at all the fucking liberals on all my social media timelines, just going like, this misogyny. No, half the country is racist. Oh, this is a racist. Oh, it's. Shut up. Just shut the fuck up, because that's not what it is. That's not what it is. People are pissed about being lied to. People are pissed because they can't buy groceries. People are pissed because they're seeing $300 billion go to Ukraine. That's what they're pissed about. Okay, it's not misogyny. It's not racism. It's not any of the. It's not a bubble. It's not nothing. They're pissed about being lied to. Okay, that's it. That's it. And blowback is Trump winning. That's what it is. I mean, this is 2016 all over again. That guy was, he's making like a lot of sense. It was great. I mean, just God, like, I wish to hell the Democrats would pull their fucking heads out of their ass and just stop with the fucking, like, Trump is the worst of everything. He's a fucking Nazi and Hitler and he's vile as shit. Like, look, that's fine if you feel that way, but that does not help. And it certainly doesn't help you get grounded in reality. Right? Like, if you're one of those people that Hitler is just the biggest Nazi, he's a Nazi in Project 25, he's going to take it, he's going to take, like, if you're that person, like, you cannot look at reality because your fucking brain is spinning out. Like, you got to calm that. You got to just, like, stop all that and just chill out and just go, like, actually a realistic way to look at it would be like, well, he just appealed to people, as this gentleman just said, on bread and butter issues. He just appealed to people on everyday inflation, it's the economy, stupid issues. That's what he's appealing to people on. For the most part. Yes, there's a lot of right-wing shit in there too, right? Of course. And he's like, make Israel great again too, right? Like, which is not, that's not good. That's not good. We're not going to get any change, and we're not, climate change is gone, like, as a topic. Like, climate change is over as a fucking political topic. It's like, it's not an issue. It's not a wedge issue. It's not an issue. It's just not even a thing anymore. Like, no way. Like, nobody's talking about it. The Democrats don't even, Democrats don't talk about it. They barely, they kind of talk about it here and there, but it's just not a thing. We can't even talk about the real issues because we're so far away, because the Democrats have allowed for the conversation to get so far away from the real, because they're so right wing, because they're just a right wing. They were to the right of a lot of things that Trump was saying. They are to the right, and they're completely, when they're like, no, vaccines are great. What are you talking about? RFK Jr. is a conspiracy theorist loony. Okay, they are not in reality, because everybody knows there are problems with vaccines. Everybody knows vaccines should be tested, blind placebo tested. Everybody knows they should, these things should be looked into. Everybody knows the FDA is corrupt. Everybody knows the CDC is corrupt. Everybody knows, right? And so when you have somebody on your platform that's like, hey, I would like to take a look at this, Well, that fucking registers with people. That fucking registers with people. And then when the Democrats are like, "What do you? That's just conspiracy." Well, then you're not even in the conversation about reality. Then you've just stopped. You're like, I'm gonna leave reality now and go, fucking, operate on some other planet, universe that doesn't even matter to anybody, right? Because everybody's like, shut up. Right? Like the general population is like, really? Okay. Except for the people that live in the Democratic bubble, in the little lefty, stupid CNN, misinformation bubble. Like, it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. And the only way we're going to get back to a place of even being able to talk about climate change or Citizens United or an internet freedom bill or term limits or any of these things that are actually issues that we should be Medicare for all, issues that we should be talking about that were not even addressed like at all in this campaign. Like nobody talked about this shit in this campaign. Nobody, like none of these things were talked about, but these are the things that are actual issues that we should be discussing and pushing on. But we can't even talk about these issues because they're not even close to, because they don't operate in reality, right? So how are we gonna actually address real issues when your political party that supposedly represents you and your media that echoes that political party doesn't operate in reality? How do you even address reality, right? You can't do it because they are manufacturing consent for living in a hallucination. That's literally what Democrats are doing. And I hope shoot. I mean, tell me this is logical as shit, man. This is logical as shit. And if you can't see the logic in this, if your only reaction to this is, well, he's a crazy whatever, then you're lost. If your reaction is he's a conspiracy theorist, you're lost. You're fucking lost. You're not even operating in the room of reality. You're operating on some other planet where Pfizer created like a AI version of reality for you, and you're like, vaccines are good. Vaccines are my friend.
President Trump has asked me to reorganize the federal health agencies, the agencies that have a portfolio that affects human health, which is CDC, NIH, FDA, as well as some of the agencies within the United States Department of Agriculture. He's asked me to clean up the corruption, number one. Number two, end the conflicts of interest, return those agencies to their rich tradition of gold standard, empirically based, evidence-based science, evidence-based medicine, and to end the chronic disease epidemic in this country. And he's asked me specifically to measurably reduce chronic disease in our children within 2 years.
I mean, come on. Come on. I'm not like, the reason why I'm playing this and the reason why I'm saying this is it's not, we're not talking about like, oh, well, don't believe RFK Jr. Don't believe Trump. It's just that you're presenting something that's so sensible. Like that's absolutely that makes perfect sense. Like if you don't think that doesn't make sense, like there's something wrong with you. If you're like, what are they talking about? Like you're okay, then okay, I don't know. Go talk about something else somewhere else. But like, fine, don't engage with reality. But like, so many people are like, hey, that sounds pretty good, right? Like, that's fucking appealing. That's an appealing fucking message. I know I'm cursing a lot today. It's okay. I had a really long morning. So yeah, we have like some crazy windstorm that started up this morning, and so I took my daughter to school early in the morning, and on the way there's like, I mean, really strong winds. There's a semi truck on its side on the other side of the freeway, and the traffic is just backed up for miles. And then on the way, so I usually wait out the traffic, hang out and do stuff at the Starbucks and wait for traffic to go away, and then like come home a little later. But when I got on the freeway a little later, the wind was still crazy, and there were more trucks like turned over on the side of the freeway. And so it was absolute mayhem. So it took me like an hour and a half to do like a half-hour drive, and that sucked. So that's why I'm late today. So thanks guys for coming in late, and I appreciate you. And I mean, and this show has already gone by very quickly. I do have a couple more things to show you before I get out of here. I'm just, I totally understand. I'm pissing people off. I'm pissing people off. I get it. If you're pissed at me, I'm sorry. But I'm also not sorry about calling out a particular side of the political spectrum that is absolutely not in touch with the reality. Like, you guys need to get it together, and get it together. Like, if you continue to operate outside of reality, bad things happen. I try to live by this maxim in my life, and sometimes I fail. We all have our failings. We all have our shortcomings. We all have our blinders. I have blinders too. There are things in my life that I am susceptible to being blind to. Absolutely. I'm guilty of that. But I really try. Sometimes it's hard to like get those lenses clean. Sometimes it's hard to remove the plank from the eyes, right, to see what the fuck is going on. Sometimes it's hard to do that. But when you don't operate in reality, when you allow yourself to operate outside of reality and to operate in hallucination, or not align yourself with what is true and factual and what's going on in the physical world, when you don't do that, you hit a wall. You always do. You will hit a wall. You will hit a barrier. You will get blowback. You will receive pain in your life. And pain is good. Pain is good, right? Because pain teaches you, like, oh, you're doing something wrong. Adjust, right? Like, you want pain. Sometimes you want pain because it tells you, like, hey, you're on the wrong path. Let's see. More on Kennedy. This is just more on Kennedy. One more. I don't want to make this video about stomping on Democrats. I want to I just want to live in a better world where we're not told we have to live in a hallucination in order to align with one side of the political spectrum, right? And then if you don't want to live in that hallucination, then that means you automatically align with the other side. Like, I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to live in that world, man. Oh, you don't believe in the hallucination? Well, that means that you support that guy. Come on, man. Like, and that's another hallucination. Like, that's just an extension of the hallucination. Well, if you don't support me, that means you love him. Hallucinate some more. Go ahead. Wolf down those, wolf down another bag of mushrooms or whatever it is you're on, man, because it's good. That's because you're flying high and you're like, yeah, everything's great. So much better if I had wings. Oh, I don't have wings. Right. Oh God. Okay, hold on. This is I said rational as fuck. If you can't understand this, there's something wrong with you. This is more just, really common sense, just rational stuff from RFK Jr.
Clear. I don't want to take vaccines away from people.
Well, right.
I don't want to impose my choices on the American
I
public.
understand.
If vaccines are working for you, you ought to be able to get them. And I'll make sure that happens. But people should have informed choice. So they should have good science that tells them the costs and the benefits of these products, and particularly since they're being ordered to use them. 76 million kids a year are required to use them. And they're healthy children. So it's the only medical product that's given to healthy people. You want a product like that to be extra solid, to make sure there's no risk, because you can take, there's certain risks that you'll take if you're sick to get better.
Of course.
But if you're not sick, and you shouldn't be required to take a product unless it is ironclad, unless you know what all the costs and benefits are. And the problem with vaccines is that they were originally introduced by the Public Health Service, which is one of the 5 uniform military services. That's why there's a Surgeon General. And the Public Health Service introduced them and pushed them as a national security defense against biological attacks on our country.
Think on that one. That's deep.
So they wanted to make sure that if the Russians attacked us with anthrax or with some other biological agent, they could quickly formulate a vaccine and then deploy it to 220 million American civilians without regulatory impediments. A normal medical product takes about 8 years to get to market because it has to go through double-blind, placebo-controlled trials, and you need to see long-term effects. There are many effects from every medical product that have long diagnostic horizons, long incubation periods. They didn't want to go through that because they said it's going to be a national emergency. So instead of calling it a medicine, we're going to call it a biologic, and we're going to exempt biologics from pre-licensing safety studies. So there's no vaccine on that schedule, that's 72 vaccines, that has ever gone through a pre-licensing safety study, placebo-controlled trial against a real placebo. And that's wrong because that means that nobody knows what the risk profiles are on these products. And nobody can tell you whether that product is averting more problems than it's causing. And what I will do, if I'm given this job in the White House, is I'll make sure that those studies get done, that there are people on the panels that approve these products that are not loaded with conflicts of interest. So it's real science by disinterested people.
Right.
And that doctors and patients and Americans know exactly what the costs and benefits of every vaccine are and can make a...
Okay, that's just super logical. That's just super duper logical. And, if you're against that or can't even take that in as something that might be a benefit to people, like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I did just get a donation from Kameshwari. Thank you. I appreciate you on Ko-Fi. Word. All your donations really help keep this show going, help keep this channel going. So many of you support the show, and you know who you are, and I appreciate you. If you want to support the show, there's lots of links in the description box of any of the channels that you are watching on. I think Rockfin ironed out their problems. Okay, so I'm gonna tentatively say proceed with tipping on Rockfin. If you guys want to tip on Rockfin, go for it. I know I got a little strident today, and I got a little animated, but sometimes I just feel some kind of way, you know. But anyways, whether you believe the changes are going to come or not, I mean, this is appealing to a lot of people. And, you know, unfortunately, climate change is not high on the list of things that people give a crap about. Some people do, right? There are plenty of people that do, you know, care about climate change, but like, we're so far away, even among the people that believe that climate change is happening, we're so far away from having like actual conversations about what we can do and how we would go about doing it and what's actually the proper and correct thing to do in the face of climate change, right? Because we're all, you know, kind of in the doomer class mostly. I don't want to assume anything for anybody. All right, thanks Kameshwari for hitting me up on Ko-Fi. Thanks for the and Kameshwari on Rockfin says today's strident discussion was worthy. Go for it. Keep it up. Thank you. Thanks. I just yeah, I don't like to see people living in illusion, you know, and it's so difficult. You know, those discussions are difficult to have like one-on-one with people, right? This is to me in some ways a way to do it without like you know, like it's, you might be able to have these discussions with people like one-on-one, but probably not, you know, depending on the person. But if you can say what you got to say, you know, and say it in the way you want to say it, and somebody hears it, you know, maybe it's not in a direct way, but they can kind of hear it, you know, over here peripherally, the corner of their brain, they go, oh, you know, sometimes that's a better way to take in information, I think, rather than like direct confrontation information, you know, like that's because that hardly ever works, but it's always the leak, you know, leaking information here and there, right, wherever you go. Anyways, I hope, and I'm going to try over the next, you know, weeks and months to talk more about, you know, try and talk about these things that we should be having discussions about, right? That we have stopped politically on a political sphere having discussions about, right? Nobody's really talking about, you know, and we've had this discussion, like we've had this discussion a million times, right? About what is the real, you know, what are better solutions to climate change other than the corporate sanctioned buy a Tesla in a sufficiency, you know, efficiency stove solutions, right? But you know, rather other than the buy better light bulbs discussion, right? So, you know, we should have discussions about, you know, what's the correct thing to do in the face of climate change, but also other things, right? What are these other issues, these lost? I feel like in the last 20 or 30 years, we've lost the ability to talk about these issues that never got resolved, right? Citizens United, a free internet bill, right? Like a freedom of the internet, where you know, there should be like an internet bill of rights, I guess is what it's called. Term limits for politicians, and you know, all sorts of, you know, and you can dissect any of those things that I said. You can say, no, that doesn't matter, and I don't care about that. Whatever, it's fine. But you know, what I would like to do is draw more attention to, and they don't necessarily have to be, obviously, you know, things within the power structure that one can push against, right? You know, but yeah, there's plenty of those discussions to have too, like, you know, boycotting certain companies, you know, best ways to organize yourself in order to, to create some pressure, all that kind of stuff. But I would like to make like a list of like policies and actions that people can kind of like think about organizing themselves around, and then also personal actions you can take in your own life, right? To be less dependent on the system, to create less waste, to be more self-sufficient, to, this, I'm redundant, getting outside of the banking system, right? Finding financial freedom outside of the system that we're told that we have to be in, etc. Anyways, thanks for joining in, guys. I appreciate you. I'm gonna make sure I don't have any more if I made anybody mad, like I really appreciate your presence, and I appreciate these debates, and I really wish that when things get heated that people don't bail out. Last thing I'll say is I've had plenty of heated discussions with people in the chats, and the funny thing is they'll throw some dirt my way and some crap my way, but if I get heated and come back, it's like, well, you were mean. I was like, okay, well, you were kind of mean too in the chats. I was responding to your shittiness that you were throwing at me. So whatever, we can throw shit at each other, we can throw insults and disagreements at each other, and we can still come back and have a discussion. Okay, let's not be too sensitive. All right, I get sensitive, we all get sensitive anyways, but this is here, you're here for, hopefully we're all here to learn and get and make things better in the end. All right, guys, that does it for me. I'll be back tomorrow at 11. Like I said, I think you're clear to donate on Rockfin again. I prefer that you use the direct donate links if you are going to donate. Please, if you want to continue having these discussions and throwing out ideas and sending me articles or sending me topics to discuss, go to Twitter, Black Bear News, the number 1. Please follow me. You can interact with me there. You can also go to the Telegram, Black Bear News Chat, t.me/Black Bear News Chat. You can go there. You can, say whatever you got to say, or whatever. We can interact there as well. All right. Or shoot me an email at blackbearnews@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Yeah. I will see you all. I'm trying to get there was so much more to talk about today, but that's all the time I got. I got to move on. Peace out. Mm-hmm.